Hello everyone. Today we're going to be working on the Republic of Gamers Strix, but it's not the B760i ITX, which I thought may have been sent to me by mistake. This is actually the B460i ITX version of the motherboard, and I got two of them. However, these are both, as far as I'm aware, dead and have a fault. Clearly marked by whoever sent this. This one is dead. And then we should have another one in here, but the listing did show this one was a little worse for wear. Yeah. Very much so. Seems to be a lot missing with that one, but that's not the problem. I'm hoping I can maybe sort this one, and if there's anything I can take off this to fix this, then we can maybe go with there. So, I mean, on the one on the right, it's quite obvious there's quite a lot missing here. We've lost, well, let's have a look. The I/O shield, we've lost the Wi-Fi, the loads of USBs, and the Ethernet controller port, and obviously everything that the aesthetics, I suppose, of it, apart from the little cover there for the M.2, I believe. Okay. Well, let's put this one to the side and then start looking at this one a bit closer. I can already see one issue. We've got damage here on the RAM slot, but that's it from what I can see. Looks like there's some thermal paste up there. Other than that, it's actually looking in quite good condition. Okay, let's start with the first few checks. Let's see if we've got any shorts anywhere that are cropping up, and then I may, if we've got anything going on, we'll go start taking this apart. So let's find a good ground. That was good. Okay, so look at 3 volts. Seems a little low at just 48 ohms. 5. That's looking good. 12 volts. That's fine as well. 5 volts standby. That's good. And PS on. That's looking good as well. Alright, so there's it's a little low on the 3 volt line. Gonna see if I can see any inductors I can maybe prod before taking this apart. Oh, let's actually maybe check up here. Let's just do this. Oh, that's looking fine. The CPU power. No shorts there. Okay. Don't know if I can see. Let's have a look at some of these inductors for now. Hundred ohms. Not entirely sure which is which. What's supplying what. It's fine. We're fine there. That's low. That looks like that must be on the 3 volts. Maybe not. Could be just low for. See what it is. There's one in there. Okay. There's a short down there. Well, what I'll do is I'm going to take apart this board, and I may also look for a board view, see if I can get any information on maybe what that inductor's doing. Let's go from there. see any issues with this at all. Looking good. Just going to bring the microscope in. It looks like there's potentially a bit of flux around the Super IO, maybe the BIOS as well. Let's have a look. See if there's anything going on in there. So by the fact that it said dead, it seems like it would have someone has maybe done some work to it. Can't quite tell. Can see flux residue around here. Looks like this BIOS chip's been taken off. Hopefully it's all good and we can it's been flashed correctly. I mean, I suppose I've got, or do I have one on there? Looking at the other board, yes, the BIOS is still on there. That one doesn't actually look like that's been touched. I can't see it. Has this been reworked at all? Hard to tell, but it looks like maybe some flux around here. Does look like there's potentially it's been removed or replaced. I may check it and compare it to the other board in a minute, but our main issue is obviously at that inductor. It's down here. Just check that again. Yeah, there's definitely a short there. Is there anything going on in the RAM slot? Why it's been broken off? Pins all look alright in there. Look. They all look fine. I don't see any problems with them. Alright, let's see if I can put up a board view for this. So I've been able to find a board view for this. From what it looks like, this inductor down here is feeding power around 2 volts into the RAM slots, and it's connected via this little controller here, step down I guess, feeding it into here, and then that's going through some capacitors and then into the RAM. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start injecting some voltage at that inductor, this one here, and see if I can find anything on the thermal imaging camera. So let's try injecting around 1 volt into there, and we'll bring the thermal camera on screen now. Let's put that over there, and we will inject 1 volt in this area. So on this side there was just that hidden underneath this. There's a little controller that's underneath there, which I believe is a step down. Let's see if we see anything at 1 volt. So let's put that on now. Oh, it's not in that area. I did see something glow up then. It looked in this area down here. Let's see what we can see. There it is. See that lighting up? Let's try that again, get this back in position. That capacitor. It appears to be one of these three capacitors lighting up. I think it was that middle one. Let's try and look at it again under the thermal. Come in this side. Now I'm right on top of them. Oh, there we go. You can see all three of them there on the camera. Yeah, that middle one is definitely lighting up. There we go. That is what's potentially causing the issue. This capacitor is lighting up with 1 volt in this inductor. So that one needs replacing. That is going to be a problem, as there's not much room around there. We've got both RAM slots. I've got the clip for the GPU here, and then we've also got 2 large capacitors here as well. So now the capacitors are gone, the larger capacitors there. Let's see if we can remove this one in here. It's going to be really tight getting this. I'm going to try and go in with some low melt solder first, see if I can get that in with my fine soldering iron, and then bring in some hot air and see if that'll pull it off, and see if we can squeeze it out of there without damaging any of the other surrounding components. Okay, so let's go in there with a little bit of flux. Try and get that to mix on this side with the solder. Oh, there we go. That's taking on that side. Don't want to put too much on now. Oh, that's staying on there. With a small tip, it's hard to keep that heat on. So all that solder is now adhered to that capacitor. Maybe, there we go. Get some of that off. Let's try and get some on the other side. Okay, let's maybe go in with a hot air gun now. See if we can take that off. Oh, it's bridging the two. Oh no. Well, hopefully that'll come off with the hot air. I've got a small nozzle, and let's see if we can get this off. Try and get some tweezers that will maybe be able to hold on to that. Okay. So I'll get it. See this off. What do we got? We're at 400 degrees. Yeah. It's all plastic. Come on. Come on. Let me see if I can. I'll get it. Get in there. Oh. It's tight now, I think. Look at the flux. Come on. Don't let go. Come on. Have to clean up in there. I'm going with some soda wick. Just wick that up again, and then we'll check it. There we go. That's clean again. Right. Let the board cool, and then we'll see whether we still have a short there. So the capacitors are removed. Let's check the resistance on that inductor. maybe it has gone. Let's put this in continuity mode and let's just double check. Got a good ground, and now on the inductor. That's a good sign. So the short is gone. Let's have a quick look at those two capacitors that were removed. Luckily, even though I don't know which is which, we can test that now. Let's have a quick check which one of these is broken. There we go. Perfect. Now I need to get a replacement. I may see if I can get the same resistance and size capacitor off a different motherboard, even though I have got a donor board of exactly the same board for the B460i. That was a real pain to remove them, so I may see what I can find. I've got board view. Let's have a look at what we have. What are these capacitors? Like a measure one that's there. It'd be easier to see it on board view as well. So I assume it is these ones that are on top of each other. Yeah, they're the ones attached to that. Yeah, okay, so they are 22 microfarads. Let's just double check them on here. You can't see them on the screen, but you can see the multimeter. Annoyingly, I keep forgetting which one is broken. Just to getting a reading off that. This one shouldn't have any reading on. Yeah, nothing reading on that one. See if I can do the same on this one. 22 microfarads, there we go. So that's the good one. I'll keep that one. And then this one can go bye-bye. So I've located some capacitors that are 22 microfarads. Got them off a donor board, not the other donor board of this. Just checking that we've got no short, and yep, we've now got open line, so that has fixed that. So that's good. Let's put this together and try booting it up. So after a mini battle, I say mini battle, that was a massive battle, I finally was able to cleanly get these back on again. I had to change the nozzle tip on the hot air station. It was just too small and wasn't providing enough heat output. Problem was that when I got more heat output, I then damaged and started to melt the little connector for the PCIe slot. Annoyingly, I also caught my soldering iron on the edge of the USB front panel, and a little bit of melting going on this input here. But otherwise, there's no short anymore. So that's that's the main thing here. It may not look as nice aesthetically anymore, but let's see if it gets working. So let's put some stuff in it and see if it will work. So all I've got for this one, I've got a 10100F Intel processor. I never actually checked the pins. They're all good. So because it's a 10100F, I'm going to have to put a PC, some sort of GPU in here. Clip is not quite working. May need to play around with that. It is attached though, so we'll see, maybe work on that in a bit later. Finish plugging this all in. One of the things I haven't checked is I'm just check the battery. Let's see what we've got going on in there. That's not too bad. That's pretty good. That's the fan. And let's get some sort of output to show. Let's see if we get any response to this. Looking promising. Trying to see if I can get something on the screen. Oh, we got a light. Let's see if we can see what these lights are showing when we turn this on. That's really hard to tell. That could be a VGA problem. I can't tell which light that is. That is really hard to see. Let's try it again, see if we can keep this light on so we can see what's going on as it goes through the boot sequence. So it says CPU, then DRAM, then it's the VGA light. Based on the Q LEDs that were coming up, it was going through the lights in sequence. So it did the CPU, the RAM, turns off, and then stays on the VGA light. So what I'm thinking of doing is reprogram this. Just add a little bit of flux to the BIOS. I'm going to just add some low melt solder to the pins and then come in with the hot air station and try and remove it that way. Just move them. Okay. There we go, we've got it. Having removed the BIOS, I'm going to attach it to the CH341A Mini programmer, and then we're going to update the BIOS. Okay, so let's install the BIOS manually. So I've gone onto the website. I'm going to download the BIOS file direct from the ASUS website. So this is the BIOS file, and we've got the BIOS currently plugged into the PC, and we're going to start reading and hopefully overwriting it. So for this, I'm going to use Neo Programmer. Detect the chip. We're going to read the IC. So it's finished reading the IC. What we're going to do is we're going to save this file. I'm going to just save this as the original BIOS. And now we've got the existing BIOS. We've got two items here. They are both 16 megabytes. However, they may not be the exact same size, so we need to double check that. Make sure that we're installing the same size file. I'm going to go into hex edit file and I'm going to check both of these files together to make sure that they are the same size. Otherwise it just won't install, and then I would have deleted the original BIOS file and then tried to install a new one which won't actually fit. We've got 1,001,000 lines on the new file, and the original file we have 1 million lines, 1 million entries and 1,000 entries. So this means that there's differences between the two files by a number of hex edits. So what we need to do is I need to check it needs to be the same header of each file. So I'm going to copy this and we're going to search for that in here. There we go. So there's the first two lines. I notice that they are after all of these FF entries. The second one, and everything above it is 1,000 hexadecimal entries. So I'm going to delete all of those entries. I'm going to save this as the latest file, so the new one. Come out of there. It's got the new one there. We are going to load up the new file. That's now been loaded up, and we're going to write that one. So I'm going to and write that way. So set that one off, and it will start erasing it. It will then update the BIOS, and then we'll put it back on the motherboard and see whether or not it starts working after that. Hopefully we can remove this label in a minute. Let's see if we get a picture and if it posts. I need a button. Where's a button? Okay, let's see what happens. This is currently the microscope in the top right hand corner. But hopefully it will switch over to the BIOS when this turns on. Let's try turning it on now. Got a DDR light, VGA light, saying BIOS boot. We have something on the screen. There we go, straight into BIOS. Brilliant. I'm going to put a proper power supply into this now, and I'll see if I can get this booting into Windows. So I've got everything plugged in now. I've got a different power supply going in now, and I've got Windows on this drive, so I'm hoping this will boot straight into Windows with this power supply. Turn it on, VGA light, boot. So that's good. Brilliant, there we go, straight in. Brilliant, okay, so that's really good. We are in Windows, it is running. I think I'll perform a few tests, make sure that's okay, and then I can get rid of this. So as far as I'm aware, this is no longer dead. Bye bye. After a bit of testing, I actually had to swap out the NVMe because it wasn't initializing or formatting. So I've swapped out the NVMe, put a new one in. That's working perfectly fine. As you can see here, we got a terabyte NVMe drive in there now. That's working fine. So I'm pretty happy with this now. That's pretty much completed repair. I may look at changing the bracket there because that's a bit damaged, a little bit more than I was originally expecting to be. My own mistake really there, applying a bit too much heat near the PCI Express clip. The port down at the USB front header, I'm just going to leave that as a small amount of damage on there. There is a clip missing on the RAM sticks, but I think I'm just going to leave that one. That's not affecting how the stick is staying in. It's still clipped in on the other side. It pretty much clips in on this side. So I'm just going to leave that as well, and I'll yeah, that's a happy, pretty good repair in the end. This, in the next one, I'll see if the other dead motherboard will actually boot up. But thanks for watching. Hopefully you maybe learned something from that. I mean, I've learned quite a bit already, and hopefully join me in my next video. Thanks a lot. See you again soon.